All right. Good afternoon. It's 2:34. I'm actually 4 minutes late getting started, but I've been getting my computer up for a bit now, and also waiting for someone else to show up. And so far, they haven't. This is supposed to be differential equations, Math 238, and where I'm leading off from here, I usually don't like teaching from Blackboard. It's sort of a pain. It's very slow. But we have this new Blackboard platform that we didn't have in the past. And since some of you may be used to the old Blackboard, I thought I would lead off with the new Blackboard. Now, I know at least one of you, yes. No, I think all of you have been in my classes before. I'm pretty sure Vince has. I know Vince has, I believe your last name was Belfield. So I'm hoping you are familiar with things here. And if so, I'm going to, I'll just knock something off the desk. I don't know what it was. Somehow I must have gotten a new stapler sometime or another, because now I've got two on the desk. I only had one before. That's what I accidentally pushed over the edge. So I'm going to be doing this from Blackboard. Okay, this new Blackboard is called Blackboard Ultra. Now, what I've heard from students is they log in the same as you did the old Blackboard. It's just it looks a little different. Now, I don't know how your first page will look, but this is my sort of beginning page. Well, actually, there's something else up here called the institution page. I haven't been there yet. I don't know what this one is. That's my name. The activity stream, I know what that is. That's of no interest to you at all. It's the things I've been doing on Blackboard. But this is where I go to start doing what I'm doing with the courses, and that's under courses. And this listing that you see here are some of the courses I'm teaching this term. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later too. And since this is 238, that's the one I'm going to click on now. I don't know for sure if this is where how you go, but however you get there, you can figure that out. But this is Math 238, differential equations. Now, actually, before I do that, I probably should do this one announcement. I'll be doing it for a while, but let me go on and get it said now so you can start planning. Lawson State Community College College Transfer Fair Days are coming up early February, so got about a month away. This is Fair Days 2020. Wednesday, February 12th, that's 1 month from yesterday, from 9:30 until 11:30 on the Birmingham West Campus in Building B, which is the academic building. These various colleges and universities will be scattered all up and down the B Hall. That's a big, long hallway, but they're going to be packed in there. Then on Thursday, February 13th, exactly 1 month from today, from 9:30 to 11:30, they'll be here on the Bessemer campus. And they say in the campus cafeteria building A. That's a weird way to express that. We're in building A right now, okay? And then when it says the campus cafeteria, I'm guessing they mean the faculty staff dining room, okay? They may spill over into the cafeteria as well, but that's right at the end of breakfast, at the beginning of lunch, so it doesn't seem like that would be, they'd be in the actual cafeteria itself. They may be, I don't know. But anyway, they're here in building A. Here are some of the institutions that have been invited to attend. No guarantee they're all going to be here, but here's what they are. AUM, that's Auburn University of Montgomery, Mississippi State, University of Alabama, that's the Tuscaloosa one, University of Montevallo. I'm guessing this means Alabama State University. They say AL State University without abbreviation or spaces or anything. Assume that's Alabama State. And then they, oh, I see what happened. Then they have Alabama A&M University, so the Alabama that went with Alabama State went down to the line with Alabama A&M. So yeah, both of them will be here, Alabama State and Alabama A&M. University of West Georgia, Auburn University, Jacksonville State University, Stillman College, William Carey University, University of Alabama, they already had that one twice. Okay, University of Alabama at Birmingham, that's UAB. University of Alabama in Huntsville, that's UAH. The University of West Alabama, Troy University, University of South Alabama, University of Alabama College of Continuing Studies. So not only will UA be there, they also will have the University of Alabama College of Continuing Studies. Athens State University, UAB School of Health Professions. UAB will be here, but then UAB School of Health Professions will be here. University of North Alabama, Samford University, Alcorn State University, Kentucky State University, Tennessee State University, Faulkner University, Southeastern Bible College, Talladega College, and Georgia Southwestern State University. So huge number of schools have been invited. I assume most of these will probably be here or have representatives here. All right, so there was the announcement. Should have done that first. So let's move on to the syllabus. Now, if you recall, Blackboard from before, they had over on the left-hand column a whole bunch of blue tabs, and you almost had to know what was in the tabs. One of those tabs said syllabus and book information. No tabs anymore. You just see the syllabus document here. And then later on you'd see, I think, the one under syllabus and book information. Then you had one that said instructor information. Well, that was going to be next, locator card. And then they had others, PowerPoints and other things, and then that's where just about everything else was, at least when I taught the course. Okay, so let's get started. We don't have tabs anymore. Let's just click these things as we get them. Syllabus. Okay, now this is the problem. Blackboard is very slow. And then Microsoft is very slow, and you're doing both of them here. So when you get to this, it used to be you could just click on that and it would open. It doesn't anymore, and actually a student told me it doesn't for them either. You have to go over to the three dots, click on that, and you don't get the ability to edit file or delete file, but you do have the download original file. So I'm going to click on that, and that file will open. Now, you have to sort of pay attention. There it is, and open it there. I got to talking earlier today, and then it disappeared, and I had to go back and click again. Now we're having to wait on Word to open in Blackboard, and the combination of those are really slow. So we're going to watch the dots move across the page for a while. It would be much better if I did this from a flash drive, but I wanted you to see how this works in the new Blackboard. And in the past, usually after a while these dots quit moving, and then you have to jar it awake again. See, right there, they've stopped moving. And I've tried to wait and let it sit and sit and sit, and so far I haven't managed to outwait it. So what I'm going to do is do a Control-Alt-Delete, and then I will come down and say Start Task Manager, and generally that breaks it out of whatever it was doing, which was, okay, now it says that is not responding. Now I don't know why it's not responding, but what I think I'll do, oh, there it did respond then. So I'm going to get out of this, close this. Here's our syllabus. Okay, now I went through this last night. Hopefully I got everything corrected, because they changed my schedule a little bit, so it changed my mostly office hours and just a few other minor things. But here's what it is. This is Math 238, Applied Differential Equations 1, 3-credit hour course. We meet Monday and Wednesday, 2:30 to 3:45, which added together just gives you 2.5 hours of instruction because they allow 15 minutes between classes. That would be the other hour. I mean, half hour that gave you 3 credit hours. Both meet on Bessemer campus in A 255. Hopefully all of you remember how to get here. Obviously not today, but hopefully you will get here. Here's my information. My name's Charles Fowler. My office on this campus, Bessemer campus, is A 265. And that's if you go out of this classroom, hang a left, go down that half flight of stairs, and then almost go to the end of the hall. Right before you hit the wall at the end of the hall, there's a stairwell on your left, but just before the stairwell, that's room 265. Right before my office, there's a mechanical room, air conditioning, refrigeration type room, so I'm in between the mechanical room and the stairwell, 265. My phone number in there is 929-3449, but I wanted to remind you, starting last term sometime, they require you to dial 205 or whatever area code you're dealing with. So it's 205-929-3449. Now that's my office line here on the Bessemer campus. Here's a problem with it though. We do technically have voicemail, but to me it's totally unreliable, okay? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, okay? Sometimes you'll be told the mailbox is full, other times they let you leave a message, but then I may not ever hear the message, okay? So here's what I suggest. Here are my office hours down here, so only call during my office hours, okay? And for that first number, the Bessemer number, Monday through Thursday. That's when I'm on the Bessemer campus in my office. Now, I'm not chained to the office at that time. I do leave, go to the restroom, may have to go to another office, find somebody sometime. So if you happen to call during my office hours and I don't answer, please don't bother leaving a voice message. Because like I say, I can't guarantee I'll ever receive it. So don't even bother leaving a voice message. That's where if you call while I'm in class, I'll never hear that phone ring, and I don't know if I'll ever hear a voicemail message. So don't call during class time, only call during office hours, but then if I don't answer during office hours, call back a few minutes later. At some point, I'll come back to my office. Now, if that's too ambiguous for you, you can always email me, and there's my email address. Now, right now, I'm behind in emails as well because we've been changing the schedule, canceling classes, all sorts of things going on. So I'm behind in email now, but I'm trying to get those caught up. Now, on Fridays, I'm on the Birmingham campus and the Birmingham West campus. And if you're familiar with the Birmingham West campus, you know in the middle of that sort of traffic circle, it's not quite a perfect circle, but it's like a traffic circle. In the middle of there are 4 buildings. The A building is the administration building. Aren't any classes in there. The B building is the academic building. That's that long building on the back side of that quadrant, okay? It's the biggest building there. And I'm in room B122 on Fridays. Now, if you're at all familiar with the B building or with the academic building, you may know that as Dr. Pruitt's office. Dr. Pruitt is the Associate Dean for Transfer Studies, and his office suite is room 122. Now, when you go in 122, now that, by the way, is the end of the building that's closest to the gym, the tennis courts, and the baseball field, that end of the building. And when you come in those doors, the basic doors, you can go up half a flight or down half a flight. What you want to do is go up half a flight. That's the 100 level. The lower is the 0 level. So don't go down, go up. And as soon as you hit that top step, when you go up that half flight, immediately on your right is B122. Now, if you come in the other end of the building, that's the end toward the new ACAT building, the new Student Services building, the parking lot there, that's also called the A building. And most of us still use I'm sorry, that's the B building. Go from there. Here's vets. I was hoping the student would show up because I'm sick and tired of hearing myself talk to myself.
Yeah, I got chauffeur that's another Brian at the same time today.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I was looking to see what.
Okay. Now you know I record everything.
Yeah.
So if you do need to be in that class,
that was why I felt comfortable telling them I think I can do it because I know both of y'all put y'all stuff on Blackboard.
okay. Yeah, so you can go either one that you want to. I was just going through the syllabus, and that will be. I've been recording, but I don't project if no one's in the room to see it.
Yeah.
But lights. Is this your second course with them?
Yes, sir. I took them for physics one last semester.
Yeah. So probably shouldn't say this while I'm recording, but I guess I will. One of the guys that's in the course doesn't come too frequently. So, and then the other one who is pre-registered for the course, I think he will be here because he's usually very good at attending. But sometimes he does run a little late because I believe he's going to another school and he has to drive here from that school depending on how close the classes are to each other in time. So I was just going over the syllabus, and I got down to the point here of on Fridays I'm on the Birmingham West Campus in the academic building, which is the B building 122. So I was just describing that. Now, the number for my office there is 929-6409. However, don't ever leave me a voicemail there because that's somebody else's voicemail. It's not mine. I'm only there on Fridays. She's there Monday through Thursday or some portion of that. So I will never hear those voicemails. These I probably won't hear either if you leave one because the voicemail is mine is especially shaky. So only call during office hours, and then if you don't get me, just hang up and try back a little bit later. Okay. My email address is there. Now here are my office hours, at least as I understand them now. Mondays, the biggest chunks of office hours. 8 to 10 in the morning, 3:45 as soon as this class is over until 6 noon. Okay? In between 10 and 3:45, I got back-to-back classes with a little bit of time in between. On Tuesdays, even fewer office hours because I have 4 back-to-back classes. And one of those is a mini-term class, which means, and it has a lab with it, so that means it's 2.5 hours of class followed by 2 hours of lab. So 4.5 hours in the afternoon, I'm not in the office at all. Okay. So on Tuesday, it's 8 to 8:30. I'll try to get here a little before 8 every morning. And classes don't start until 8:30 now. I don't have an 8:30 class on Monday and Wednesday, but I do on Tuesday and Thursday. So 8 to 8:30, I'm in the office. And then 8:30, I'm in pre-calculus algebra. 10 o'clock, I'm in pre-calculus trig. 11:30, I'm in linear algebra. And then from 12:45 to 1:15, that's only 30 minutes. That's when I eat lunch, and that's my other office hours. So 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But here I'm eating lunch, so I bring my lunch, I eat in the office, so it's all there. Okay, Wednesdays are a lot like Mondays, except the first part's identical. 8 to 10, I'm in the office. And from 10 till 11:40, I'm in Cal 1. However, and I have my lunch 11:45 until 12:30 both days, but the reason I put this as office hours here, that's all I got, because from 12:30 until 2:10 I'm in Cal 3, and from 2:15 until 2:30 I go down and swap out books and come back up here for this class, and this class is 2:30 to 3:45. At 3:45, I go back to my office, but I'm not there for any time at all because I just swap out books, pack up my bag, and head to Birmingham East Campus where I have a physics class from 4:30 to 6:30. So that's why I don't have this block of time here with me. So all I got there is my lunch, 45 minutes. Okay. But again, I eat in the office, so I'm there. Thursdays are just like Tuesdays. 3 back-to-back classes, then half hour for lunch, and then 1:15 till 5:45. And here's Easter. So 2 out of 3 are here. Good to see you. Yeah. And this is Vince. And then on Fridays, I'm usually on the Birmingham West Campus from 8 to 12. Not this Friday, though. This Friday, I'm having to take 4 hours personal leave because my wife and I have to go to Georgia to take care of some business there. So we will be leaving very, very early, between 5 and 6 in the morning, to head over to Georgia. So not going to be on Birmingham campus this Friday. Now remember, this is the number for Birmingham. This is the number, Monday through Thursday. That's right. Okay, let's do course description. And for those, you've probably heard me in other classes, we didn't make this up. This is something that is a committee from the 2-year college system and the Alabama public 4-year schools, colleges and universities. They've agreed if we teach this, they give you credit. So here's the course description. Introduction to numerical methods, qualitative behavior of first-order differential equations. Techniques for solving separable and linear equations analytically, and applications to various models, as in population, motion, chemical mixtures, and so forth. Techniques for solving higher-order linear differential equations with constant coefficients. That's the general theory, and we'll do undetermined coefficients. We'll also do reduction of order when that's appropriate, and the method of variation of parameters. Now, quite often, that's about as far as we get. This took like a short class. We may get a little further now. It says, with emphasis on interpreting the behavior of the solutions and applications to physical models whose governing equations are of higher order. The Laplace transform as a tool for the solution of initial value problems whose inhomogeneous or inhomogeneous terms are discontinuous. That's something generally we don't get to. Okay? If we do, we'll get there. Okay? But generally, we run out of time before we run out of term, or something like that. All right. What are the prerequisites for the course? Basically, Calc 3. Okay? Have you had that too? And both of you. Okay? No co-requisite. And I know pretty much, I think patients have Calc 3 as well. Okay? The textbook. Here it is. The first course in differential equations with modeling applications. It's 11th edition. Dennis Zill is the author. It's a 2018 copyright, so that means it may have another year or two of shelf life before they come out with a new edition. Not that there's anything really new in differential equations. It's just that the publisher doesn't make money on the new books. It only makes money on new books. So they make the authors make little minor changes just so they can sell a new edition. Graphing calculators occasionally will be somewhat useful in the course. You can easily get by without it, but if you have one, you can use them. Paper, graph paper, and pencils. A little confession time here. When I do math, I tend to make errors, as you probably both remember and know and will see again. So I like to use pencil, but if you prefer ink, that's fine with you. Now the rest of this, for quite a few pages here, is about Cengage Unlimited. This is a Cengage book, and that means for that $119 per semester, though it has a couple other options to it, you can get all your Cengage books for that one price. Okay? Now those are ebooks. You can get for an additional something like $8 or something like that. You can get loose leaf paper copies of those texts, including this one. Okay. The rest of this is all advertisement for Cengage Unlimited, which I think is inappropriate in the syllabus, but they make us put it there. Okay, so this is all that. By the way, somewhere here is, I don't see it. Oh yeah, print rental. Oh, and that's a rental. It's not a purchase for $8. Okay, for every activated course. Now, that then leads to what are the other courses that we offer here at Lawson that are Cengage booked, and there are quite a few. So if you're in any of those other courses, for that same $119, you can access all these courses. Okay, whichever ones you're taking. Okay. Like I said, there are a couple of other deals they have. A 1 year is $179. A 2 year digital access is $239. So you do get a little bit of break there, but pretty much you have to be here for that whole time to take advantage of it. Okay. Finally, we get back to the rest of the syllabus. And I think both of you have heard me talk about Blackboard before, how I don't like the wording here, so unless you want me to go through that again, I'll just skip the wording.
After about 4 or 5 courses with you, I think we got it.
Okay. And then the professional competence, for Houston's only had one, and you probably had one. Okay. Professional competencies and objectives, student learning outcomes. Students will find solutions to first-order differential equations, including separable equations, linear first-order equations, applications with various models. Students will solve linear equations in higher order, including equations with constant coefficients and undetermined coefficients. Students will use Laplace transform methods to solve initial value problems in discontinuous functions. Students will use numerical methods to approximate solutions and will research and write on a topic. Yay in the equation. That hasn't changed either, has it? All right, so let's go down and see what the actual competencies are for those. All right. Now, the first student learning outcome there actually are divided into two. Okay? We'll do an introduction to differential equations. That's incorporated in number 1 there. And then we'll do first order differential equations. That's chapter 2, which includes the separable equation, linear first order, application of various models. Okay. Number 2 here. Okay. Students will solve linear equations of higher order, including equations with constant coefficients and undetermined coefficients. That's chapter 4, linear equations of higher order. Okay? And then number 3 up there, use Laplace transforms. That's chapter 7. And so far, we've had difficulty getting very far into that. Okay? Now, the numerical methods, we do some of that in chapter 2 and some of it in chapter 9. We will get to the chapter 2 part. We doubt if we'll get to the chapter 9 part. Okay? And students will research, write on a topic in differential equations, and that's your writing competency research paper. Now, how will I evaluate how you're doing in the course? And this first sentence is just totally worthless. But so research paper is required. That doesn't mean optional. It's required. Cannot be dropped. Okay? It's the research paper right here. Okay? Chapter test will be given at the end of each chapter, chapter 1, chapter 2, and at least chapter 4. We may get to others later. We'll see how far we get. The lowest chapter test score may be dropped if that helps your average. Okay? Now, if you don't turn in a paper, you're going to meet every chapter test you can to proceed. The average of the research paper and the remaining chapter test will determine the grade. The last test, which most of the time winds up being chapter 4 test, that one cannot be dropped. Okay? Research paper and that one. So I'll drop the lower of these two, but if that helps. Okay. Now, they throw in plagiarism all over the place as if they're really expecting a lot. I'm not. Just don't do it. Okay? Now, then when I do the average, A, B, C, D, F, A's are 90s, B's are 80s, and C's are 70s. Don't go down here at all. Okay? You should be able to hang with it. If you can't, get that. I think all of you have heard me talk about how poorly that was written, so I had to change it. Absences, try to be here every class. Even though I report every class, it's hard to ask a YouTube video a question. They don't usually answer. Okay, so try to be here. If you can't, they're good to fall back. Okay? Now, while I've got that on the screen, if you look like you're getting hopelessly behind and you wind up that you can't pull out more than a D or an F in the course, it's a far better option to withdraw than to get a D or an F. Now, why do I say that? I'm hoping all of you, both of you, your grade point average is above a 1.0, okay? Because if it's below 1.0, a D will actually help you a little bit, but not much. If it's above 1.0, a D will bring you down. F is always going to bring you down. So, if you're on any kind of Pell Grant or other thing like that, then you can retake your class once, and they'll still pay for it the second time. But if you withdraw otherwise, or fail or pass or make a D in it and have to retake it again, they will not pay for a third taking of the course. Pay for it once and one retake. Well, a D and an F are both going to hurt your grade point average, but you're going to have to retake them. A W, you have to retake, but it doesn't hurt your grade point average. So why not go with that? Now, if you can pull out a C, B, or A, don't bother withdrawing. Well, that's up to you. But anyway, that's why I emphasize that. I'll emphasize timing on this a little bit later. Okay? Now, makeup work, since everything's take-home, I don't understand how makeup work has any importance here, but know this, try to get your test in within a week, but definitely before I give out the next test. Okay? Because that's, you don't want to be missing the same thing on two different tests. Where if you get it in, I get it graded, you can see that, oops, I had that wrong. But if you don't get it in, I give you the next test, you finally turn in the first test, I grade that, and then give it back to you, and you find out what you are doing now is the same mistake you were doing before. Try to get back into me before I get to the next test. I'm going to try to start all the classes at 2:30. That won't always happen because I only have 20 minutes between my previous class and this one. And if someone stops me in the hall or something like that, I might run a little late. But I'll try to be there to start at 2:30 every day. Okay? Academic integrity. Again, here we go again. Plagiarism, don't do it. Okay? Cheating, don't do it. Okay? Obviously, your schools you're going to think you need this course. If you do, you need to know how to do it. You don't need to know how somebody else did it. That won't help you any. You need to do your own. All right. So and then, to me, this is almost wasted space here. It just doesn't seem like something that you should be. It starts off with this. Students are encouraged to conduct themselves as adult professionals in training. Of course, that's what you're here for. So why go over this stuff? I mean, this is, anyway. They say following behavior to be avoided during class meetings, texting or unauthorized internet use, especially if you're bothering somebody else. If you're texting and you're distracting your neighbor, don't do it. Sleeping, now especially if you snore. You know, I don't want you bothering your neighbor by a loud noise. And believe it or not, I have had a student that too once, okay? Speaking out of turn loudly or rudely, no. I'm not expecting any of that. I've had it in classes before. Unnecessary traffic in the classroom. The only thing I can think of is if you're having to get in, up, and back and forth. Guess what? You got a phone that you've got to respond to, work or emergency or something like that. Go and go out in the hall and take care of it. Eating and drinking drinking, I don't know what your situations are, but if you really need the caffeine, I'd rather you have caffeine than be sleeping, okay? If you're going without food and you really need something to stay alert, eat. I will say this. If you make a mess, you clean up the mess. And then I don't think either one of you would be wearing inappropriate clothing, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about pants. So I don't. Yeah, we're on the what they call Blackboard Ultra.
Can I get to that?
It's it should be the same way you got to the old. Were you here last term? I know you didn't work in my class, so you weren't in my class last term. I don't recall that you were. I don't think you. I think you. It was term before last. Either summer or spring. No, you were in linear algebra. You weren't in that class. Not like.
I might not have had to take it.
Yeah.
Because I had physics. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah. I had physics.
So supposedly, if you were here last term, you should still be on that. But I know that I have to. What's that?
It got all the old courses on there. I was trying to do this.
Okay.
It'll probably. I probably got paid to like complete my registration.
That may be it. I don't know. Maybe. All right. Now, everything up to stuff is expectations on you. Starting with this is your expectations of us. Okay? All students have the right to a healthy learning environment. If you have concern about the course or me as the instructor, here's what you need to do. First, speak to me. Okay? If you have an issue with me, let's work it out. One-on-one, we'll resolve it. Okay? If you don't think I'll be sufficient to deal with it, then let's go to the department chair. Oh, that's me. Okay? So we'll go through it again. I'll write myself up if necessary. Okay? Third, okay, if that doesn't work for you, let's move on up to Associate Dean. I'm over in his office every Friday morning that I'm here. He can chew me out all he wants to then. So we'll get that addressed there. After that, you can go on to the dean, the vice president, the president, whatever. We can handle it now. Just about everything. Okay? And you probably both heard all this about discrimination, harassment. I include bullying in here. We don't tolerate it. We don't want it to happen here. We'll deal with it quickly, fairly, due process, all like that, but we'll deal with it. We don't want it happening here. Okay? Any questions about that? I don't want to short circuit it, but you've all heard it before, I hope. Americans with Disability, as you know, I'm hard of hearing, so I'm sort of sensitive to this. If you have any kind of disability, and I did have a student this morning who said he did, and I took him down to Dr. Herndon's office, but she was busy with another student, so a woman who worked under her. On the Birmingham campus is Miss Janine McCoy-Jones, and that's phone numbers and everything. So any kind of disability, deal with it. Here is a college calendar. Classes started technically last Thursday. This class starts today. Drop add, they say here runs through Wednesday, but they're having us on the help desk on Thursday, so evidently they're going around the help desk and drop add through Thursday. They weren't supposed to, but they said. Next Monday, 1 week from today, though, is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, which is one of those good news, bad news situations. The good news is we celebrate Dr. King's birth and his life and his legacy. The bad news is we will miss class. Sorry about that. All right. Now, Friday the 31st. Now, this is not the withdrawal I was talking about before. This is the last day to withdraw completely from school and receive a partial refund. Okay? Dropping the class does not earn you a refund. But let's say that your family has to move. You know, somebody got a new job and you're going to have to move. There's no way you can complete the course here, so you need to withdraw from school completely. If you do that before the end of this month, you get a partial refund. How much, I don't know, but you receive that. After January 31st, you don't. You still can withdraw, but it's that. We'll get to the other. Now, the first week in March is midterm. Okay? I can't remember which day, Monday, Tuesday, no, either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometime in there is the end of the first mini-term, beginning of the second mini-term. The following Monday after that is when midterm progress reports are due, and that's when I record if you have ranking a D or an F at midterm. Basically what that means, you haven't turned any work yet. Okay? So please don't be there, but that is when that's due. The Friday of that week is what they call the midterm 60% completion day. Okay? This goes back to the withdrawals. Okay? If it looks like you can't help but make a D or an F in the course, you're getting hopelessly behind, you can't understand it, you just don't have time to work on it, whatever. If you're on any kind of federal financial assistance, it's a good idea to wait until after Friday, March 13th to withdraw. If you withdraw before this date, you owe them money back. Okay? If you do it after this date, you do not. But you have to withdraw by Monday, April the 20th. So you have 5 weeks there, at least more than 5 weeks, more than a month, a week more than a month here to do your withdrawal. In the middle of that, though, is spring break. So remember that. The college is open some of those days, but there will be no classes those days. I think the college is open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The whole college is closed Thursday and Friday. So don't forget that, because after you come back, then you have about 3 weeks to withdraw. Then our final exams, I probably need to change this, because anytime that final exam week, that's what it's due. Just like the other test. I'll give them to you at the end of the term, and you come in your final. And final grade reports are the 7th of May, Thursday, and graduation and spring commencement is Friday the 8th. Or either you're graduating this term, you're probably not. So, you might need to get yours to me a little early so I can get your grades up. Okay. And then if you've read the syllabus and understand all of it, then sign this. You can either print this, sign it, and turn it in to me, or you can email it to me. This last page will do. Any questions about that? All right. So y'all came in after I got started. Here's how the new blackboard looks. Okay, that was the first thing. You see, before we had tabs here, and you had to know what was in the tab to know where to go look for. Now we just list it all here. And this emblem here means document. Okay, all 4 of these are documents. This one, you click on it, and then you have to get to it. Let's look at locator cards. Used to, you would click on it and it would open. Or you would get to another file name and you click on that and it opens. It doesn't anymore. What you have to do is come over to the 3 dots and click on Download Original File. Hopefully you won't even have the option of editing files. You shouldn't be able to. Or deleting files. Hopefully you can't. But you can download the original file. So that may be the only option you have there. Now this is where a combination of PowerPoint, yuck! I get the talking and it only hangs up there for a short time. Okay. Oh, wait. Here it is. There. But the combination of PowerPoint and Word, any Microsoft product, is really a big pain in the neck. They can go really, really slowly. There we go. All right, I'm going to enable editing, though. I doubt if I'll need to edit anything. It just loses that line there. Now the top part here, Spring 2020, my name, my phone numbers on both campuses. The first one Monday through Thursday, the last one Friday. My email address, my department, which is math, and then this is the pictorial layout of my week, okay? Generally, I'm on campus, whichever campus I'm on. I usually try to get here before 8 o'clock in the morning. So 8 o'clock across the board, I'm hopefully on campus. This is Birmingham West Campus on Friday. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm in the office from 8 to 10. I'm Cal 1 then and then, okay? Then I'm in Cal 1 up until 11:40. So I'll try to get down to my office at 11:45 to grab a bite of lunch. Only have 45 minutes before Cal 3. Okay? Cal 3 is 12:30 until 2:10, 2:15. I head back to the office, swap out books, come back up here for the 2:30 class. And all that is the same. When this class is over with on Monday, 3:45, I go back to the office. Actually, I do a few things here. Entering attendance and doing with YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. But then I usually go back to the office and I work in my office until 6. However, not on Wednesdays. On Wednesday, when 3:45 rolls, pick up everything here, head to my office, swap out books, and load my book bag and travel to Birmingham East Campus for the physics class that goes 4:30 to 6:30. That's Wednesday. Tuesday and Thursday, those are the busy days. Okay, Wednesday's pretty busy. Boy, Tuesday and Thursday. 8:30, pre-calculus algebra. 10 o'clock, pre-calculus trig. 11:30, linear algebra. And then first mini term at 1:15, physical science 1, and second mini term, physical science 2. The mini-term classes, 2.5 hours a class, followed by 2 hours of lab. But Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So from 1:15 till 5:45, occupied in these 2 classes. First mini-term, second. At 5:45, go back to the office, pack up for going home, leave hopefully by 6, but usually it's 11. All right, Wednesdays 6:30 or 7 before I get together. Then on Fridays, usually on the Birmingham West Campus, 8 to 12. Now, a couple of exceptions. One, I told you this Friday, not going to be there. There will be a Friday, probably late in the term, where I probably will have an infusion, probably have a leukemia. So that's probably going to be late in the term. I know there's one day one Friday we have math meetings. I can't remember, it seems like they're up in Calhoun State Community College up in north, around Huntsville, somewhere up there. So that Friday, I'll let you know in plenty of time when I'll be out then. Now, here's one other possibility. Usually I try not to miss any classes. However, last week I turned 69, which means next year at this time I'll be 70. And to me, 70 is either time or past time to be out of here, okay? So I'll be retiring next January sometime. What's that?
I said, what?
Yeah. But the teacher retirement system runs these seminars that they want us to attend so we know all the ins and outs of retirement. And they're all-day seminars, and they never offer them on Friday. So I don't know what my system's doing here. But the one that I've requested is that you have to do 2 requests. So I did March 4th and 5th or whatever. It's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And I don't know which one they're going to assign me to. They're both in Tuscaloosa, so I'll be just up the road here, but I'll be occupied all day long. If it turns out being a Wednesday, I won't be here that Wednesday. But if they assign me to Thursday, I'll be here that Wednesday, but not Thursday. So either day, I'm going to miss a lot of classes, 4 classes both days. but the one's a mini term. So I'd rather not miss that one. But then this one is 1 day a week. So I don't want to miss that one either. So whichever one it is, I may miss a day coming up, either Wednesday or Thursday. If it's Wednesday, we'll miss this class. Okay, but those are the only ones I know about right now. I do know that I'll probably have a doctor's appointment. My hematologist only sees patients on Tuesday mornings. I'll be back. Well, today's Wednesday. Monday and Wednesday. It won't bother us at all. Okay, any questions then on my locator card? When I'm on campus, off campus, in class, in my office, any questions? Okay, then let's get rid of this one and go back to the courses information on Blackboard. Research paper journal instructions. Now, y'all have both been in my classes before. Nothing really has changed here, except one minor thing, and it may be the same for Vince. And you do go by Vince, not Vincent, right? Okay. What's that?
I said either.
Okay. Here's the research paper instructions. Everything's the same. Are there any questions about research paper? Okay. Only. Huh? Yeah. I forgot. I got the talking. What's that again?
I said, don't make up facts that don't exist. Don't plagiarize.
Right. Okay, here we go. Now, all that you've read before, right? Any questions on any of it? Here's the only reason I pulled this up is that I know last year the months were different, and I don't know if yours was in the spring. These might be the same. But if you turn it in the month of January, you get 4 bonus points. February 3, March 2, the first 3 weeks of April 1. That last week in April, that's getting in finals, so you have to have it in like that. If you turn it in that last week in April, and it's not finals haven't begun, you just get your score. And remember to turn in a single page from one of the sources. If you have 2 or 3 sources, pick one, just one, and then write me or print me or copy me a single page from that source. All right. Any questions? Okay. All right. We'll be through with that one then. All right. Let's go back then to... Now, this is something, if you remember from before, usually sometime into the term, they finally got around to send me a class key for WebAssign and your ebooks and things like this. Well, this term, the guys there were on the ball, and they got in touch with me in December. I told them what classes I was teaching. They got me the stuff before the term began. So that's why I have here this one, and it says it's a document. It's just one item. And there it is. Now, you don't need the class key. Here's what it is. Lawson.al space 56503 space 4365. So I'm not going to assign anything about WebAssign. However, you may find it useful, helpful to work through those things. So there's your key. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I'll make making assignments from your text, but that gives you a few more to practice on. Especially when the test time comes, you might say, let's see if I can find anything like this. So that's what you use to access that. Now, I think you also need that to do the ebooks, don't you? I don't recall.
With WebAssign?
Yeah.
Yeah, with WebAssign, you usually have to do it.
Right. So you may have to use that for that as well. Okay? But that's all there is. That's there. And here it's perfectly obvious where it is and how to find it. I think what I had to do before was do an announcement describing it. Now I don't. I've got it right in here. Okay, now there is our YouTube videos. Now this is a link. That's what this stands for. These are files or documents. This is a link. This one is more like the old one. You click on it, it goes straight there. You don't have to download or anything else. It just goes straight there. It may take it a while, but it will go straight there, won't you? It's coming. Slowly, but it's coming. And this, there's something about the plug back here or something. When it gets hot or late in the afternoon, it flickers a lot. I don't know if you can tell here, but it sure is doing a lot of flickering here. Now again, let me remind you, the things at the top of the page are the oldest things. So the bottom of the page are the newest. And sometime in the past we did 4.5, but generally we do 4.4 rather than 4.5. So that's why these are out there. So if you do need to see it, this is called annihilation method. Doesn't make any sense now, but we'll wait. Okay. And you can scroll down here. These are all old files. But there, that first one, actually, for some reason, these two got out of order. Syllabus was done before research. Okay. So anyway, this is where last term began. This one first, then that one, and then these others. So I'll just scroll down to the bottom, and where today's will show up, I will name that syllabus also. And as soon as I put today's in, then I'll go up here and delete this syllabus. Okay? And I'll probably also delete research because we've already talked about the research paper. Okay. So your newest stuff will be at the bottom. Like today's class will be named syllabus. It'll be at the bottom. And at the top will be the older stuff. Okay. And see, we did 4.4. I've started doing that because the annihilator method, I like the undetermined coefficients better. So that's what we did. Okay, any questions on YouTube videos? I'll leave all those out there in case our server crashes, my computer crashes, Screencast-O-Matic crashes, or we forget to pay the bill or something like that. I'll leave them out there so you'll always have something to refer to. So let's go away from YouTube videos. And then I will show you just a few other links. Both of these are links that either I found or other students have found and told me about, so I put them out there in case you use them. Now, here's something about at least this one, maybe this one too, I just don't remember, Midnight Tutor. Some of these are based on the book, and some of the times it's a previous edition. They don't always keep these current, so it may not be the 11th edition, but it may be the 10th or even the 9th edition. Nothing's changed. The differential equation is still the same. Maybe the coloring and that kind of stuff will be different. All right, but that's your course. Any questions about it? Now, I haven't gotten to the point of, we don't have any grades yet, but at some point I'll be putting in your grades somewhere here. I've got to learn how to do that too. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I just can't imagine that being a very difficult thing. I don't see where they have your grades here. I'll find out. I've seen it somewhere before, but it's not showing up here. Okay. Any other questions about Blackboard or anything on Blackboard? Okay. Okay. Now, we go to 3:45, so I only got about 11 minutes left. Let's get started on the actual no, that's not what I wanted to do. Now we'll go from current slide. I'll try to anyway. Here we go. This is slow. And by the way, I think I mentioned before, but if not, I'll say it again. My battery in my watch died, so I don't have the time. So if y'all want to leave on time, you keep up with it. Okay? I'll talk forever. You know. All right. So, let's get the slide set up. Now, both of you have had linear algebra before under me, right? Remember, that book didn't have any PowerPoints. Neither does this one. You would have seen that in the Blackboard. They're not there. This doesn't provide that. So everything I do will be off a white screen. Okay? But this is a tablet computer, ionizing pen. Everything that I do, say, and project, it gets recorded. All right. So let's start 1.1. Okay, Chapter 1, Introduction to Differential Equations. A few things at the beginning. The words differential and equation suggest that solving some type of equation that contains differentials or derivatives. Derivatives, differentials, there is a distinction, but we use those terms somewhat interchangeably. Okay? So it has to be an equation, meaning it's got to have an equal sign, and somewhere in the equation you've got to have some derivative. Okay? So, for example, x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0. Is that a differential equation? Why not? There's no derivative or differential in it. That's an equation for sure. There's an equal sign, but that's just a quadratic equation, not a differential equation. Okay? How about this one? Y double prime plus y prime plus y is equal to 0. Is that a differential equation? Yes, it is. It has both the first derivative and the second derivative. Okay? So that is a differential equation. Okay? Got an equal sign, so it does have a solution. Now, to solve a differential equation, then you would have to come up with y is equal to some phi of x, some function of x that makes that equation true. Okay? So that's what it means to solve a differential equation. Okay. Now, let's move into what they call definitions and terminology. We'll sort of harp on that for a little bit, just so later on we will use these terms. You'll have to say, now what does that mean? It'll be pretty obvious. All right? The derivative term, now you can write it as y prime, or you could write it as dy dx, or dy dt, or dy d something. Okay, that's your derivative, okay? Or you could refer to it as a differential, okay? And then your solution would be y is equal to some phi of x, just like I said before. I said x and wrote t. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, some phi as a function of x. There it would be your solution. Okay. Now, let me write down an equation. Okay? Here's an equation. I'm going to start new here. All right? Here's an equation. Y is equal to e to the 0.1 x squared. Okay? That is an equation. It contains in it an exponential function. Okay? Now, all exponential functions are differentiable everywhere. Log functions are not. Polynomials differentiable everywhere. Square roots may not be. Okay? So you just have to keep up with what's going on and idiosyncrasies there. Okay? But an exponential function is differentiable everywhere, from minus infinity to positive infinity. Okay? Now, let's take the derivative of this. In other words, y prime is equal to what? Okay, a little bit louder. Okay, I'm going to go on and combine the 2 with the 0.1. So 0.2x, that's the chain rule part, e to the 0.1 x squared, right? Yay or nay? Okay, guess what that is? That's a differential equation because it has a derivative in it and it has an equal sign. So that is a differential equation. Now, one thing to notice, this part right here is exactly what y is, right? So you could write this as y prime is equal to 0.2 x times y. That's also a differential equation, okay? You can rewrite it a couple of other ways, but that is indeed, and you can write the y prime as dy dx is equal to 0.2 x times y. Okay. Let's right now, let me write down for you, how are we doing on time? 4 minutes, okay, I think we can get this done. Here is your definition of a differential equation. An equation, now I abbreviate like crazy if you remember, an equation containing the derivatives that's pretty ugly writing, but the derivatives of one or more unknown functions that's the abbreviation I do for functions, or dependent variables, okay, with respect to, that's WRT, with respect to one or more independent variables okay, that is a differential equation. Now, I'm going to write it by its initial here, differential equation. I left off the thing. Is a differential equation. Okay. There's your definition. Now, notice we didn't say anything here about what kind of derivative. That told me something that we used to classify. We didn't say how many derivatives. That's another way we use to classify. Okay? We didn't say, we said here one or more unknown functions and also one or more independent variables. Now, if you have one of those, that'll give you certain things. If you have more than one, that'll give you something else. So there's a lot of wiggle room here. Okay? And that's what we're going to talk about next, ways that we can classify differential equations. Okay? And the 3 ways we do are type, order, and this is a rather strange one, linearity. Okay? Type, order, and linearity. Okay? Have we got enough time? Under type. Okay. Under type, you only have two types. One is an ordinary differential equation, O standing for ordinary. The other is a partial differential equation. Okay? In other words, is this just a straight derivative, like the one we did, d by dx? Or is it a partial derivative? If it's a partial derivative, that's a partial differential equation. If it's an ordinary derivative, it's an ordinary differential equation. In this text, we're only dealing with ordinary. We are not dealing with partials. If you'll notice here, well, it doesn't say it here, but a first course in differential equations, these are just about all going to be ordinary. Does that mean we're never going to do a partial? No, it doesn't. We do partials for a variety of reasons, but the differential equations we're solving will only be ordinary differential equations. Okay. Now, does that eat up most of our time? Okay. We'll start then with example 1 next time. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but we will start there next time. Now, I don't think we got far enough along to be able to do any homework exercises at the end. This is a long section, okay? So it's going to take us a while to get through it, but we're just going to be talking about it. So, yeah, we aren't far enough along to do any homework exercises at the end, but we'll get there next time, I'm sure. Okay, any questions? Good deal. Okay, we'll pick up then and go from there next time.